books, and they cover that 8.5, 11, and 11 by 17 sheet fed area and application. There's a large format. It's typical for more higher volumes for personalization at scale for athletic wear, soft signage. Typically, you're going to need a roll calendar. This is a kind of like a laminator, a high temperature laminator that will actually heat the dried ink up to the sublimation point of about 400 degrees F and transfer to the product. And then there's grand format. These are typically 80 inches and above for trade show graphics and soft signage. You're going to see a lot of this application in clothing stores and at the airport with SEG frames. So we'll cover that a little bit later on, but SEG frames is workable in virtually all of these markets. So today what we're really going to talk about is this kind of middle of the road for dye sublimation. And I'm going to cover two Mutoh printers here. We've got a 628. This is a 24-inch effective print width printer. And we've got an RJ900, which is a 44-inch wide printer. So these are great, again, for personalized products. And if you're going to do them at scale, these are both roll-to-roll printers. So you can load up a roll of 100 feet, 300 feet, 400 feet, and print to your heart's content. So these work well for metal substrates and for pre-made garments. So if you're doing t-shirts or skirts or other kinds of pre-made clothing like masks, these work great. Socks, these are both big sock producers. I've got customers with teams of RJ900s, and that's all they do is produce socks or all over clothing. These are also good for signage, for point of purchase signage. So if you're going to do some small signage for a local customer, these are great because, like I said, the 628 will print all the way out to 24 inches effectively. Again, these are good for SEG frames. And SEG is a silicon edge graphic. So this is a little frame with a little edge around it. And what you do is you take your print, you cut your print, and you apply a piece of flat silicone. And it's about a 1/2 inch by 1/8 of an inch. And you sew that on or apply that to the edge of the fabric. And then you stick that down in this groove, and it'll stretch the fabric and make a very nice taut display. And the nice thing about these is once you get the holder, the SEG frame itself, changing out the artwork is just a matter of pushing the old one out and pushing the new one in. So these are very good turnover products. So you can update them, especially for point of purchase. These use mostly flat processes, but there are small calendars available out. I've got customers with both these machines doing things like lanyards, and they'll buy a custom laminate or custom calendar that's grooved to take the width of the product and properly apply the paper to do the heat transfer. Entry costs for both these are fairly low. It's not near as low as a desktop in many cases, but it's much lower than going full wide format because the press itself is really the higher cost of the item here. So the nice thing, if you get a nice capable press, it will handle the output of multiple printers. And that's typically what I find with people doing socks off an RJ or mask off of the 628, is they'll still have a calendar and they'll have a small 24 or 48 inch calendar to run the product through to transfer to a fabric. But that cost is minimal compared to a large calendar unit or a large heat press. So keeps entry cost low. Again, this is a Mutoh 628. Sawgrass has the exclusive rights to this for dye sublimation for this Mutoh printer. And they've done a phenomenal job of putting this together as a package. So like I said, this has a 24.3 inch print width, which means you can effectively print a 24 inch panel. So if you're doing Chromlux or Duralux, you can do a full panel. This has a high resolution. This is also an 8-channel machine, and this could be a desktop, or it does have a stand and a catch basket if so desired. The thing that makes this an outstanding printer in this size is really the choice of ink sets. So if you're going to do high quality hard substrates, like the Chromolux and the Duralux, if you're going to do art on metal, these are phenomenal printers because of this particular sets of ink. It allows a very wide gamut. It gives you nice smooth colors and vibrant colors and a wide gamut to appeal to those artists who are going to want art type output. So here you get to pick which ink set you want to use. There's a CMYK ×2 that you run for high speed. So if you're doing just normal work, that's probably what you would set up, and you could get high output out of this machine. But if you want to do an extended gamut, you kind of got to take a look at which direction you want to go. So they have a photo set. If you're going to do photo panels, you can set up with a photo set of ink. And if you're going to do pro photos, they have a set there as well. And then they have an expanded gamut with fluorescence, fluorescent yellow and fluorescent pink for those high visibility applications. And these are both in signage and art, as well as in some fabric and some artistic applications on regular substrates. So if you wanted a mug with a nice vibrant fluorescent green, you could add this fluorescent yellow and make your green that fluorescent appearance. The RJ900 is a 4-channel machine. The nice thing about this is unchipped. So you can buy this and put whatever ink you want in it. Obviously, whatever ink touches, it's not covered under the warranty. But this is a great machine for people developing new products and new ideas and new applications, or people that just want to do their own thing. I had a customer that was looking at doing some fluorescent swimwear, and they didn't want to go to a full-size printer. They didn't have the budget for it. So I actually loaded this up with fluorescent inks. I did some rough profiling and made some designs for these folks so they could take a look and see what they can actually do with a 44-inch printer with 4 colors using fluorescent inks. So it's quite impressive. I mean, you're not going to do faces, you're not going to do portraits out of this, but it's a good application for effect. And a lot of things for personalization are effect-based. So this is an industrial design machine. This is designed like our other large format printers, just like the 628 is. These are all shrunken down large format printers to fit the applications, to be durable and long lasting and produce outstanding quality. So like I said, this is a 4-channel machine. So typically you load it up with CMYK and print to your heart's desire. This one does have a stand, has an optional catch basket. So you can do roll to roll. And with the catch basket, the nice function here is if you set it up in the rip, it can print the job, cut it, print the next job, cut it, print the next job. You take them out of the basket and sublimate them while the next one's printing. So it's got some nice features to it, and the open sourceness of it allows people to experiment with a wide variety of inks and applications to get the specific things that they want out of this printer. Like I said, you're going to have Beaver on, so I stole one of their pages here. This is just kind of a list of their products and their applications for these products. Most of what we're going to talk about today is going to be down in probably the TexPrint DT and the XP. So XP is typically for hard and soft surfaces. This is a universal type paper. I use it for obviously my hard substrates when I dye sub. There's also the Sports on here, and we'll talk a little bit about that later, but Sports is a heat activated sticky paper. So for doing things like all over clothing, I do my all over t-shirts. I have my own designs that I like to wear. In order to do those, I use sticky paper. So it will stick to the front surface. And then when I flip it over, I leave the paper on so that the first surface that's printed doesn't lighten up during the second pressing. So sticky paper, a good application for doing all over clothing particularly. So again, there are two major types of coatings for dye sublimation papers. There's a clay coating, and you can see the applications for there for photography and for home decor and trade show graphics, banners, virtually everything, because it's pretty universal. And then on the CMC side, these are more for clothing and for textile applications like fashion and sportswear and soft signage. So here's my application for tacky paper. So what I do is I take a design and I make it slightly larger than the garment. So there's a bit of overlap. I will flatten the garment out to minimize the amount of wrinkles. You're never going to eliminate the wrinkles completely, but you can minimize them quite effectively. And I make a sandwich. So I print the front and back all on one sheet, and the back is flipped so that when I fold this into a sandwich, both these images line up. And the paper is translucent enough that you can actually see that they're aligned. So that's what I do is I'll take it and crease it before I put my garment in there and align it. So I align it and crease it so it's got a nice hold on it. And then I'll roll up the top edge. I'll lay my garment down, unroll the edge. I'll press the first side, flip it over and press the second side, and then peel the garment away when I'm done. And like I said, what this allows us to do is when you press the first side, if you take the paper off, you're going to heat the entire garment again, and you're going to open up the pores in that polyester. And so the first side will lighten up without an image there when you do the second side, and it'll be a visible difference. And you have to be very careful on your timing and your temperature in order to get those close. Using the tacky paper makes it extremely easy. You just leave the paper on there till you're done, and it produces outstanding results. So, like I said, for every application of dye sub, you have to have some heat and a heat source. So there are a variety of these, and Conde carries a wide variety of these as well. Typically for the size that we're looking at, you're typically in the flatbed region. And flatbed presses could be anything from a small 6x9, I think is probably the smallest I've seen, up to a 5x10 flat press for doing things like mouse pads, towels, and things like that. A lot of the people that are going to run towels and everything will run a calendar unit. So this is a rotary unit, like I said, kind of like a laminator. And so you want, if you're going to end up with a calendar unit, you want to size this carefully. You want to look at what your business prospects are going to be, because if you get an oil-filled drum calendar, it can take the output of multiple printers, and typically 3 or 4 printers. So if you buy a printer and then you buy a calendar and you want to double your production, really all you got to do is get another printer. Your calendar, if you size it properly, will be capable of taking you to the next step in production. So this is all transfer printing. So again, we're printing on paper, and then we're taking a polyester substrate, and we're taking a heat source, and we're, for lack of a better term, evaporating that dried ink into a sublimation gas and letting that, with heat and pressure, embed itself into a polyester substrate. And so you can do these on fabric, on non-fabric, on 3D surfaces. They make a plastic dye sub media that you can conform to 3D surfaces. If you look, there are architectural applications for this and some small applications as well. And it, if you're doing home furnishings and clothing and stuff, it avoids the washing that you have to do if you're doing reactive inks and those kind of things. So it saves a lot of water. It's a dry process. So some of the most common and popular substrates for this kind of printing is the metal hard substrates that we talked about earlier, and that the Chromlux, Duralux people talked about earlier as well. In order to do these in photo quality and art quality, I highly recommend a 7 or 8 color ink set, you want a high gamut for this, a large gamut, so that you can get the best possible output. And like I said, if you go back and look at that 628 ink set, this is where this comes into play. So if you want to run some of these other items off of 628, soft signage and textiles and SEG frames and all these other things, you can always switch inks back to this 8-color set to do these high quality art and high quality photo metal substrates. And pre-made garments, like I said, I like t-shirts. I've done some socks. I've done some masks myself. Socks are unbelievably popular. I've got multiple customers with print farms. So they'll have 7 or 8 RJ900s, and that's all they do is make socks. So it's again, your imagination, your application, and what you can sell. Metal substrates. So ink and paper cost, and I'm probably on the high side here, but I'm going to say ink and paper somewhere between 28 and 52 cents a square foot on these two printers. And in general, the cost per square foot of a hard metal substrate is $5 to $6. And then these will sell from $8 to $20 per square foot. So this is a nice markup. It's a nice product. It has something that I don't see anywhere else. It has a depth to it. It's almost a 3D depth. And this is because of the polyester coating and the metal reflective off the back of it. But it gives it a unique effect that makes it artistic and photo quality. And to me, photo quality typically better than a photograph, because you can get this in a gloss or a matte or a variety of the surface finishes to match the application that you're going after. So photo, you may want a semi-matte or a gloss. For an art, you may want a gloss, or you may want something totally out there. So these are all available. And this has a really wide range of use. So these can be as art and portraits. These can also be point of purchase signage, or can be signage that hangs on a wall. Again, the 628 can do these up to 24 inches. The RJ can do these up to 43.2 inches. So you have a wide range of applications to do these hard substrates with, and a lot of places to fill in with these. As you can see, there are lots of architectural and furniture applications, all kinds of signage. There are new applications here for outdoor signage, with some of these having UV protectants in them and being able to stand outdoors up to 5 years or longer. Interior design, if you're doing kitchen backsplash, all kinds of neat applications. There are also antimicrobial coatings available for metal substrates, so you can use these for hospital applications, for patient waiting rooms, all kinds of applications. And you look at the cruise lines, again, innumerable applications for these products. If you want to do fabric, both these printers will do fabric. So if you want to do banners and flags and neat applications like that, you're back to this magic number of ink and paper cost. So ink and paper cost is the same virtually for all of these products. So substrate prices change. So here's where you have to get creative and figure out which gives you the best bang for your bucks. Which application can you sell to your existing customer base, and which application will allow you to bring in new customers. So as you can see, fabric cost here range from $1/4 square foot to 80 cents a square foot for backlit applications, with SEGs right in the middle there at 75 cents. Soft signage. So with a 24-inch printer, you can do 24-inch wide by 8-foot, 16-foot long banners and signs and flags. To 44-inch printer, you can do even wider than that. So this gives you a wide range of applications again. And the difference between a soft sign and a tablecloth is nothing. Same price, same type of fabric typically. So if you're gonna do a soft signage for somebody for a trade show or for a booth, you can also do their tablecloths and then go back to the hard substrates, do those for them, and then do some cups and mugs and some pens, maybe some name badges. So you can entirely brand a booth or a business with dye sublimation. Home decor. This is a huge growth market during COVID, because a lot of people have been home and they look around their house and they look on the internet and they say, hey, I can personalize any product virtually in my house. So this is nice because the customer can either pick from your designs and your repertoire, or they can design their own and send it in, and you can make custom pillows and furnitures and tablecloths for them as well. And again, ink and paper cost is the same. So it's just down to fabrics cost. So if you're going to be doing upholstery, there's probably going to be a higher markup, much higher markup than for soft signage. Again, to do drapes and draperies and polyester linens and pillows, pillowcases, just depends upon how much you want to do and how big you want to go. So dye sublimation is a process, and it's designed for poly material, and it could be either direct or you can paper transfer, but almost all of it is paper transfer. It's much more effective that way, and you get many more applications. If you're going to do direct, you can only do direct on a fabric, so that kind of limits you to fabric applications. And if you're a large fabric producer, that's great. But if you're a startup or a mom and pop, and you want to be able to produce the widest range of products, you've come to the right place. You've come to dye sublimation. And as you can see from Condi's offerings of substrates, it's virtually unlimited. So dye sublimation, again, you could do it on metal, wood, porcelain, anything that you can coat with a polyester coating and get in a heat press. I want to thank you very much for allowing me time, and I hope I've provided you with some valuable information. Again, if you need to contact me, you can contact me at Mutoh. I'm Randy Anderson at mutoh.com. Thank you all very, very much.
All right, well, thank you very much, Randy. I appreciate it. Let's see, I had a bunch of great questions, but mostly I think what I have is a lot of people with printer envy, actually.
It happens.
Yeah, it definitely does. Well, I want to thank you, and also I want to thank Shane from Mutoh. So we are going to pick out a couple of people that have participated in the chats today, and we're going to give you guys some gift cards. So I'll announce all those winners. Probably not today because I don't have time today, but it'll all be on the virtual open house page. So I hope you guys win. And once again, thank you, Randy. Thank you, Shane. And I will see you guys at the next one.
Thanks, Sprite.
Thanks, guys.